Welcome back to the MetaMinds podcast. We're here again, and we are all about relentless self-development.
And consciousness optimization.
I almost forgot again.
Yeah.
It would have been to shame. Put me to shame.
Yes.
Today, we are talking about the topic of connection and why connection is so important to living a vital life, essentially. We're going to talk about our experiences with connection, why it's so important, the benefits of connection, and the different types of connection. It's not just connecting with other people or little doggos, which is always
adorable,
always fantastic,
yeah,
always fulfilling,
yeah,
essentially why connection can save your life, or ruin it if you don't have it, basically. So, to dive into it a little bit, Dan, why is connection so important?
It's a tricky one, mate. It's a big one. It's important for many, many reasons. And I think we'll get into that as we go through the podcast and as we talk about this deeper. But connection is important because being human beings and going through our historical process of being in a tribe and then getting to the point now in a lot of Western worlds where it's a very individual lifestyle where you live for yourself. And that's kind of pushed in a lot of countries where it's just the agenda of the individual, right? And as human beings, it's within our psyche, within our subconscious that we need to be connected. There's something there in our history about connection. So there's that historical element, but then there's obviously the other aspect of it, which is just connecting with people and being conscious and present during that moment with that person can be the most fulfilling thing for people out there. Ever, yeah. And
the connection that we're told that we get today, social media and whatnot, isn't actually connection.
Yeah.
So the thrown off again. It's funny how that happens.
But so we've got it creates meaning and fulfillment.
So back to like the caveman days, as we love to reference to, essentially, I forgot where the study comes from, but essentially they've studied it and all we're designed to really actually recognize is up to 150 faces, and even that is pushing it sometimes. So that's the tribe number that we're really supposed to even recognize and be like, oh, I've seen that face before. And I don't know about you, man, but I've got a few thousand Facebook friends.
Yeah.
Ask me to recite more than 30 or 40 of them. I couldn't right here, right now. I could not do that.
Exactly right.
So that's the main testament to the connection that we supposedly have in this day and age is not actually connection, because we're meeting new people every day, and we're seeing new people online every day that we would never, ever would have ever seen because they live on another side of the planet. And it's fascinating, it's amazing, but it's hurting us real bad. Why is connection...
Maybe talk on the same frequency of consciousness.
Important, yeah. So the main thing is that, I mentioned this a little earlier, but essentially we're on the same frequency of consciousness. So there's different frequencies that consciousness operates on. That could sound very woo-woo. There is science behind it. You may have to experience it in a different way to kind of understand that. But plants operate on a particular frequency, humans operate on a particular frequency. That this is all grounded in science as well. Even though we say it's grounded in science, but we don't link to any studies. We really should start doing that. But anyway, we obviously have done research on this topic. But essentially, we are actually sharing a connection right now. Because we are the same thing, right? And it's not we're the same thing, and that you have a body and you're a human, and I have a body and I'm a human. It's like we are literally experiencing. Like, you may think your consciousness is in your head, but your consciousness is actually my consciousness, and it's like not only in our head, but it's all around us everywhere. And it just dips up out of all of the consciousness for when we're alive, and then falls back into it when we die, basically. Same as animals and everything, we're all on the same kind of frequency, and we're all connecting on that experience. So whenever you actually have a connection with someone or share a joke with someone, and you get that little giddy feeling, and you go, "Ooh, that's fun, that's funny," or whatever. That's because you're experiencing the exact same thing, and you just so happen to share that, and you're like, "Oh, this person is like me because they are me."
Yes, that's exactly right.
And that's why it's important ultimately, because we're all the same. We're on the same team. We're all experiencing the same thing. We're all doing the same thing.
Yep.
And that's why it's funny, because all of our emotions and stuff are the same, and they've read, they've gone and studied tribes that have been separate from all of other society, basically, and all of their facial emotions are the same, even though they haven't had influence from outside. So it's funny when you see people from clearly traveling, or they've moved here from another country or whatever, and you can share an experience with them, even if you don't have the same language or don't know the same how to communicate. verbally at all. You can read their emotions and have a connection with them just based on, have a laugh with them as well. It's really funny when that happens because, we're just humans.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
And connection is important. It drives us forward.
It does. And I guess for my point on that, I definitely recognize a form of energy that is transferred between people when you have these beautiful conversations. Like when you and I have even these podcasts now, like there'll be moments where we'll pull something up or you'll pull something up that I have never heard you say before. And I'm just like, wow, that's massive kind of thing, because of the transfer of energy that then I recognize that, wow, like I'm having such a deep conversation with Damon. I'm learning from him. Hopefully he's learning from me. And no, not at all. and that transfer of energy is a massive thing. It's a real thing. It's a thing you can actually feel. It's an energy. Yeah. And to me, that's massive.
And the other thing is, like, the main reason that you learn and grow and move forward in life is basically from connection. I don't know about you, but I don't sit alone in my room and go and just like meditating and wake up and go, oh, that's it, I figured it out or whatever. So it's me sitting alone in my room listening to a podcast, and then I'll go, that's it, I figured it out, because I've gained perspective from another person. Sure. And even though they're not connecting with me, this is the beautiful thing about the internet. We can have deep connections with people that don't necessarily connect with us. We can be viewing something on their Instagram or on their podcast or whatever, but then the negative side of that is the Facebook, where we're having social time, because, I always have 10 chats up on Facebook at one time, but it almost feels like work because I'm just linking different things to people and talking to different people, but I'm never actually having that fulfilling thing where it's like, yes, even when a friend shares a song with me or something and I'm like, yeah, I love this song.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. It's different.
No, not at all.
So, this is the reason why connection is important. It's everything, basically. Keeps us all going. It's the reason part of the reason why we're here is to actually share experiences with people.
Yeah. And on that note, we've got here, without connection, you can't grow or learn. Now, we want to preface that by saying that you can obviously grow on your own. You don't have to have connection to grow. You can find some of your biggest growth internally and through these experiences. But I guess what you were talking about before is the idea of, like, connecting with someone can really give you a bit of insight in something. And I know this happens for me, and it's happened for friends and people that I've, worked with and whatnot, that when they have the opportunity to be able to share something and that other person can be present and witness their story and then help them with it, or just be present for them to actually get their thoughts out and not have them bubbling around in their head. They're actually putting them out into the world. That kind of connection between people can be really beneficial for people to share that connection. And I think you definitely can grow and learn a lot with other people. It's a massive benefit of connection. Especially when the other person is on the same level as you, and have a similar mindset and similar outlook on life to that person. And then when you share an experience with a person that you're similar with, obviously, as I mentioned, you can share experiences with people that you don't know anything about and you're totally separate to. But when it is someone that is clearly similar to you in beliefs and whatnot, then it is a much deeper connection, and you do gain that energy from that and come out of it feeling alive and feeling like, oh my gosh, that was really cool. And you never really pinpoint it back unless you think and go, the reason I felt energetic and amazing after that experience is because I actually experienced it with that other person, Yeah, massive. It's a whole thing. It's big. What are the different types of connections, Stan? So we've got lots of different types. You've got personal, you've got social, and within personal you could have food. Any other examples within personal? Sorry, I'm having a bit of a blank. Yeah, so let's... we're a bit exhausted because we've done a couple of podcasts now. We're doing live casts and everything. It's all live, but anyway... So let me finish off what I was saying. So it's basically different forms of connection. You've got personal, you've got social, you've got earth, and then you've also got primal, and also like soul or religion or spirituality, however you want to look at that idea. But that could also fit into personal as well. So to go into the obvious one is like human connection, you need to have that human connection, and especially in this day and age, that should be quite obvious to a lot of people, in that it's very easy to spend a couple of days alone, whether you're doing it intentionally, whether you're doing it by accident, whether you're just locking yourself away to work on either a passion project or just work. It's so funny because if you are working a 40-hour job, which I've done before, you're spending more time with those people than you are actually your family and friends. And you don't, unless you actually have that thought, you don't realize that. And it's like, true. They're not necessarily they're just the people that you've been put with, like often you can have connections with those people,
But more often than not, they're not necessarily the type of people that
they're colleagues.
Yeah, that's
they're
it.
Not necessarily friends. Yeah.
And you share good experiences with them or whatever. And that's fun and stuff. But it's not like they share the same fundamental beliefs as you, and they're passionate about the same things as you, and they're into relentless self-development, consciousness optimization, whatever. And so it's often you actually spend more time with people that aren't in the same like realms of connection than people that are, kind of thing. And that's partly why a lot of people potentially are disconnected in this day and age as well, is because they're not connected with the right people. You know, and so human connection is one of the first ones, and like that's super important, obviously, because it helps us. We can reflect on, because we're similar. Like I'll have a thought and I'll share that thought, and then you can build on that thought, and that's how we help build the narrative of each other's sense of self and stay grounded in our own reality. Because if you're constantly connecting with people that aren't on the same level as you, then you just start tribally adapting to what they are and believe what they are.
Yeah.
And it isn't until you pull yourself out of that situation, or you're taken out of that situation, before you realize, hold on, I was adapting those behaviors and those thoughts, even though I don't think that at all. It just so happens that that's how tribal, that's how that tribe thing works. And then you finally step out and you're like, I can finally believe this stuff that I believe again. And it's like, push those pressures away, and you don't realize that you're getting these pressures of, Right. But, so you can reconnect with people that are on the same level as you as well, which is a whole thing, and there's a lot of different ways to do that. But that's why it's so ridiculously important, because you'll just go insane. And this is great with the internet. Again, we've done this with the podcast countless times now, where we connect with people and they share a belief with you, or you just like you're following someone on the internet or whatever, and it keeps you sane, because you realize I'm not the only person like this, know. And if you're into such a specific niche of something, often you can like go around all of your physical environment, your whole city, and not find anyone that's into that same thing, depending on how niche it is, Could be volleyball, in which case go join your local volleyball,
there you know. Yeah.
Or it could be like something specific really internet game that only not many people play, and that's what you love. That's what keeps you going. And when no one else knows what you're talking about, you're like, this is stupid. My whole sense of self is like not real, It's like can change who you think you are, basically.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess what you were saying before about the social aspect, and how sometimes we can find ourselves like adapting to that social situation, and maybe I don't know if you were saying this, but this is my own words, sometimes you will change the way that you are in certain situations with different people. And I found myself doing that a lot prior to finding myself, right? So I guess what I'm trying to transition into now is the form of connection within yourself, connecting to yourself and really knowing yourself. Because for me, I found, especially through high school, I was like trying to adapt myself to different situations, and I wasn't being authentic, and that's not a good way to be, even though I felt like I was getting little nibbles of socialization, little connections here and there, but I found myself not actually being myself, or trying to change myself and adapt myself.
You didn't know what it was.
Because I had no idea. So I mean, for me, the personal growth was something that really helped me then recognize what a real good social connection feels like, and what it feels like to transfer ideas and have a sense of self within yourself, so that you can tell me something and you can change my mind on something, because my ego is not going to bite at it. And that's another topic altogether. But I mean, it's the idea of like being grounded in yourself, understanding your values, but being open to other values. But not so open that it changes every single time that someone says something. You can disprove something in your mind, or you can connect with something. You have that control.
You're totally right, and you have to connect with exactly who you are and understand your values and be grounded in those values before you can actually, not necessarily beforehand.
No.
But if you aren't fully grounded in your values, which is much harder said than done, obviously, like done than said, then every social situation you put yourself into, then you are going to adapt, and it's like, you should adapt to social situations, otherwise you'll be at work and you'll be like, swearing and talking about things you shouldn't be talking about. That's just a context thing, right? But it's like, and that's just adapting to a context, but it's not adapting socially, where you change who you are based on the situation you're in, which then is negative, because you're never really grounded in this actual sense of self, which again is entirely made up, and our ego just associates itself with things. But it is obviously necessary and helpful to have. So it's like, you need to figure out who you are first and what you believe in, and then you can go into those situations and adapt to those situations to get through those situations, but you don't have to change who you are to be in those situations. or every time you go into those situations, have them change who you are, basically. Because you're just this like selfless, like sense of selfless being where you're going into a situation, you're like, I guess I'd be like this here.
Yeah.
Which you see a lot of, actually.
Which you do see a lot
and this is partly why this topic is so important, because people don't know themselves. They're not actually connecting with themselves, No.
And that's
like, how do we do that?
Yeah, it's so hard. And I mean, for me, when I recognize friends or people out there or clients or whatever, actually just being so true to themselves and going into a social situation and actually like questioning someone on something. So for example, instead of following the norm and being a sheep and going, no, I agree. Like, I really respect it when someone will go, I see where you're coming from, but I actually have a different point of view. And to me, like, when I see that happen, it's beautiful, because it's you're still connecting with them, you're giving someone your own opinion as such, but you're not just conforming to the sheep mentality of, that's great, I agree, yes, and just praying down to every single thing. That is such a big thing to me. And it's something I struggle with still to this day. Like, as authentic as I try to be in every situation, it's one of those things that, sometimes I won't say something, I'll bite my tongue in a certain situation, which I think is, again, quite a healthy thing to do at times.
It depends on the context.
But yeah. So I really respect that in people that can just be honest and true to themselves.
But again, the only way that you can do that is if you are totally comfortable with your values and who you are, know, because it's like, you can be in a situation that you don't agree with, but if you're not so grounded in yourself that you like, understand what it takes basically to question that, because then you'd be questioning out of your ego. But instead, you're like, I'm so comfortable with what I believe in, I'm going to say, hey man, I actually don't think that, I think this, what do you think about that? And it opens this like constructive conversation, rather than you being in this like, oh, I believe this, but I better not say it because I'm not really sure of that thing, so I don't know. Yeah, you know what I mean? I don't know, I'm probably not being as clear as I could be.
No, that makes sense though, yeah.
But yeah, so, and to go deeper than that, like other ways to connect with yourself, and this is part of why we're so disconnected nowadays, is to connect with nature, which is so ridiculously important. And until you actually really fully do that kind of thing, you don't realize the benefits of that thing. Like, a study came out recently that sunlight on your skin, direct sunlight exposure, which creates vitamin D3, which you can't really get through food, even though it's in the food classification type thing. Now, you can obviously supplement with vitamin D3, which is very beneficial to most people in this day and age, because you spend most of our time under a roof, which we're never meant to have done, because we're animals running around in the sunlight in the wild. The study's being done that 20 minutes of sunlight per day, and obviously it varies depending on like your location and that kind of thing and how much sunlight you're getting on your actual skin exposure. So if you're wearing a full jumper and a hat, like obviously that's not sunlight exposure. You need to take your shirt off and chill in the sun. It's really fantastic. I love doing it, by the way.
Yeah.
So does my dog. She just lays next to me and I'm just laying there like, and that actually changes the gut biome, the biome in your gut, which obviously manipulates how your brain works and the actions that you take and the thoughts that you have.
Massive.
So your happiness is directly linked to the amount of sunlight you get. And that's just one example, right? It's like, getting in, like we used to get a lot of vitamins and minerals from, our feet touching the ground, right? That's how we would get magnesium and all these different vitamin Bs, vitamin B12, we would get vitamin B12 from, eating dirty potatoes. But now, wash all your potatoes, otherwise you'll get a disease or whatever, antibiotics.
Yeah, we're too sanitized, aren't we? We're trying to be too hygienic. And
again, that's a whole nother topic, because it's like we just haven't questioned, we just kind of go, oh, well, I guess we clean our vegetables. That's a good thing to do, which makes kind of sense, even though there's studies to say that dirt is really good for you. But yeah, and so the other thing is, we'd get magnesium from bathing ourselves in streams every day, because obviously the streams aren't just clean water straight from the tap. So again, depending on where you are, but so we get a lot of these vitamins and minerals through being in nature and connecting with nature, basically. And so this is why a lot of people today, again, are having depression, anxiety, all these different issues, because we're not actually getting the nutrients and vitamins that we need. And so you just go to the doctor and they're like, you have a chemical imbalance in your brain, young man, and you need this drug and it will solve it. It's like, no, actually, hold on a second. Look, I'm not against pharmaceutical drugs, okay? They can help a lot of people, right? But have you taken a step back and checked all of the boxes first? Are you getting social connection? Are you connecting with yourself? Do you actually understand who you are and what your needs are? Have you got your vitamin and levels checked in that regard? are you getting these different forms of connection? You're actually going out in the sun and getting skin exposure. You know, you have to be there for hours on end, because obviously you'll get sunburned, and then that's bad for you in another way.
But, and again, it's balance with everything as well.
Yeah, balance all the time. And
no, that's fascinating.
Exercise as well. It's another way. Sorry, I'll just finish this point off, that it's like you don't have to go to a gym, a location created for you to lift up a weight and put it back down again. That's not what it has to be. Just go outside, run around a little bit. Maybe you can run around with your shirt off in a magnesium stream. Oh, damn, you can do it all in one go, my dude.
Yep, do it all.
So, but yeah, just run around. Like, you know, honestly, so many of my problems, like sometimes you're just trapped in a problem, and instead of like running, I actually have a little bike at home, so I just like bike ride. Just do that super intense for 2 minutes, and that's all it takes me to go, wait, never mind, I'm not depressed. I just haven't really moved my body at all today.
Yeah, well, that's it, man, because we're meant to move. So, we're animals, like you said before.
In the caveman days, you'd be running around because A, there's nothing to do, so let's move around and walk around. Or B, I need to build my rock cave up a little bit, so I'm going to put some rocks on my rock cave, and that will tire you out a bit, and that gives you... moves your body around, again, changes your microbiome, which changes your thoughts about reality.
For sure.
Didn't think we'd get this deep, man, but here we are.
No, it's massive, man. And on that note, to add to that, how important the gut biome is, and how important it is to go and be exposed to things in the environment. You know, go and sit underneath a tree and let, you know, all these different things flow through you and inhale everything and sit there, you know, with no shoes on. Like, shoes are, again, another hygienic thing to protect us, because the dirt's a bad thing. And they have a purpose, of course. You don't want to stand on a sharp rock, you know, or a needle or whatever. But, you know, it's important to also be exposed to that, like you said, as well, because you can supplement certain things, but you can also get it in a natural way. And
which is obviously the best way to do it.
Yeah, which is the best way to do it. And where I'm going with that is 80% of our serotonin is developed in our gut, right? And serotonin is one of those things that can be the difference between feeling, you know, amazing and connected to feeling really depleted.
Wanting to die.
Yeah, it's a massive thing. And if 80% of it is produced in your gut, then that says a lot about what you're consuming, food-wise, or, you know, pathogen-wise in the world, or whatever it may be. And that can be affected, and that can then have a roll-on effect to your brain. So body, mind, and spirit, all of them are connected as such. So,
and look,
massive.
This brings us on to the next type of connection, which is connecting with your food. You know, and a lot of these, to give it a bit of an umbrella term, is primal connection, I would say. You know, and if you're not, we did an episode on primal psychology. If you've heard that, this is obviously related to that. Essentially, you need to connect with these primal needs, because that's what's actually going to fulfill you as a being, basically. And then all these other things on top of that, these secondary needs that need to be fulfilled. But you need to connect with your food, and the main way to do that is to actually understand exactly where it came from. All the pesticides and all these things that are being sprayed onto our food, they're actually destroying most of the and the genetically modified food. Not all of it,
no,
because there are actually ways to do it which are really good. You can listen to a specific Rich Roll podcast, which we should link in the show notes to give you more context on this. But yeah, a lot of that, the way it's changing the makeup of the actual food, is taking all the nutrients out of it, which is obviously McDonald's and all this fast food is so over processed and that's why it tastes so good, because there's no actual nutrients in it. It's literally just the oils and these fats, which you rarely get, basically.
Yeah.
Oh wow, we're running out of time here, aren't we?
Oh wow, okay.
To connect with your food and understand where it comes from, and to have a small little vegan spiel here, essentially. If an animal is living in a cage for its whole life in pain and suffering and anger and hating its life, and it can't see its children or its babies or have connection with other animals, and then it's killed in a bloody murderous rage, screaming with other animals in a shed, and never gets sunlight or food, and it's standing in its own crap all day, and then you eat that, what kind of energy do you think is transferring into yourself? You know? And you're eating that like bacon every single day, and you wonder why you feel so like angry and sad and depressed and don't have any nutrients in your body, probably because you don't. So if you understand, food. That's it. You literally are. And just to preach on this is probably this whole microbiome thing is another podcast in itself as well. But the studies coming out every single day, really over the last year, it's really shown to me that you are what you eat. You are, changes your mind, basically.
Yep. Massive.
So, connection with everything in your life. I think we dived into it pretty well, didn't we?
Yeah.
But a little bit on our experiences with connection, I suppose. How has connection saved your life, Dan? put you on the spot. I always do this at the end.
You always do this. I'm relaxed. I'm like, okay, we're getting to the end of it. And you're like, how about this one? What is the meaning of life, Dan? Okay, so connect with everything in your life. Okay, so for me, I think I kind of spoke about it a little bit before when I was going through high school and even after high school, where I just found myself kind of changing and adapting to a situation almost to please other people or to fit in, right? And I wasn't being authentic to myself, and I found myself feeling depleted and not authentic, and it just was taking a toll on me. And for years, I wasn't aware of this. For years, I was just going through the motions and recognizing I was unhappy, but not really knowing why or questioning why, just going through the motions, playing games all the time, not questioning it, right? And connection changed my life because I first started connecting to myself in that process when I was getting bullied and I had no friends and I was isolated. I had to connect with I didn't have to, but I needed to for myself. I had this urge that I needed to connect with myself to find myself because I recognized that I didn't have connection anywhere else. And that really made a big difference in terms of me recognizing what makes me tick, what values I have. All of these things are important to me now that I've recognized through this process. That was the first stage for me. And then when I started connecting with real friends who didn't make me feel like I had to change and didn't make me feel like judged or that I was inferior or whatever, that's when I really recognized that connection is just the most important thing. And it's something I always seek from really good friends and from myself as well. So I hope that kind of answers that.
Yeah, that's
just trying to be mindful of you maybe sharing because we're at 26 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've shared it on several podcasts before, but look, I don't want to highlight any very specific experiences, but there have been several, which I'm sure many people have had, where you kind of, you walk out of a situation and you realize that the reason you feel so amazing is not because of anything else in that situation, but the people that you're with. And it's like it literally does not matter where you are or what you're doing. Because if you're doing it by yourself, you know, even if you haven't thought about it, deep down you know that you feel different when you're by yourself. And I'm not bashing doing things by yourself. Again, it takes a lot of courage. And I admire people that do things by themselves. And sometimes because no one else is available or wants to do something with you, you need to do it by yourself, and that you are going to grow a lot by doing that. But say you're traveling by yourself. Oh, no one wants to go to India with me. I'm going to go by myself, or wherever you're going. Then you go by yourself, you're most likely going to connect with people over there, and that's going to give you a whole different perspective shift and mindset change, and give you this connection and fulfillment that you never would have had if you were with another person. There was potentially a crutch that wouldn't push you to go out and do these other things where you would connect with these new people and stuff. So connection good.
Massive. Connection is good.
To be a caveman.
Good.
We should do like actionable caveman content.
That would be good.
Connection good.
Move rock.
Move rock. Little meta meme. Let's make a meta meme.
That's actually an idea.
Anyway, and I guess I suppose to give some ways to connect. There's a lot of different ways that I've found to connect with clients through my business, which you can just switch. And if you're looking for people to find that are on the same mindset as you, kind of thing, just search your city and then the thing that you're into. Brisbane table tennis, Brisbane vegans, or whatever it is. Facebook cupcakes. That's it. Or Instagram as well. Hashtags. And or Reddit.
And Twitter, you can look for specific locations within like 50 meters of you, or even less. You can search for people in the area that have the same interests.
And it's like crazy that on Reddit, it's so funny. I see that like someone will post on the Brisbane forum. Obviously, I'm following that one and a few other cities as well. And someone's like, I just moved here. I'm super lonely. I feel depressed. Like I want to die or whatever. And then like 20 people just be like, DM me, let's get a beer.
That's great.
And then like they post an update a month later and like, hey, like I'm friends with this person now. And it's all this like crazy, like just getting connected with a new person. It doesn't,
There's the power of the internet right there. That's the beauty of the internet.
There is a lot of, like, even though obviously it restricts us in a lot of ways, it can benefit us in a lot of ways. But there are ways to connect with new people. You just got to think a little bit outside the box, get creative. Don't sit in your own, self-pity, because it can be different. And if you don't push yourself, then it's never going to be different. So I think let's end it there.
Yeah, I think that's a nice way to round it out. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching.
And make sure to stay connected. Stay connected with people.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Thanks, guys.